Hello, everyone, and a super cheerful welcome. You're listening to a special deep dive brought to you by your daily English dose.
We're diving deep today, really deep, into giving you the clearest, most scientific way to get that English fluency you're looking for.
That's right. We're tackling maybe the biggest frustration point for English learners everywhere. You know the feeling. You studied for years. But when it comes time to actually speak, you freeze up.
Yeah, exactly. If you feel like you've just hit a wall, maybe you've finished the grammar books, you've memorized stacks of vocabulary cards, and you still catch yourself translating back into your native language inside your head.
Well, we want you to just take a breath. Our sources, the science, it's all pretty clear on this. This isn't about you not having talent or, not putting in enough effort. It's almost certainly about the method. You're likely stuck in an inefficient loop.
That really is the key insight, isn't it? We need to shift the focus entirely away from just piling up knowledge. The real goal, the scientific goal, based on second language acquisition theory, SLA, is what we call English circuit automation. We're here to basically distill the shortest, the most proven path to building those brain circuits, the ones that make English just flow out smoothly, instantly, without you even thinking about it.
That's the big promise for today's deep dive. We're giving you that reliable roadmap. We'll show you exactly how to, unlearn the stuff holding you back and finally get that automatic fluency. Okay, so let's unpack this. Before we can lay down the tracks for this faster route, we've got to clear away the debris, right?
Yeah.
So the first really crucial step is this idea of unlearning. We need to pinpoint those huge time-wasting learning myths that honestly keep so many intermediate learners completely stuck.
Exactly. If you want to speed things up, speed up that automation, you absolutely have to stop doing the things that eat up your time but don't actually build usable skills. And we found, three major traps that consistently trip up even the most dedicated learners.
Okay, let's hit trap number one. This is a big one. The idea that just memorizing long lists of words, rote memorization, is the best way to build a vocabulary you can actually use.
Right. And that's a myth because the goal isn't just knowing the word exists, it's about usability. Can you pull it out instantly when you need it? Automaticity theory is really clear here. Look, you could know 1,000 words, but if you have to consciously rummage through your mental dictionary to find them, well, they're basically useless in a real fast-paced conversation. You need those words wired in, instantly accessible, and that only happens by bumping into them again and again in meaningful situations, in context, not by staring at a vocabulary list.
That makes so much sense. Okay, myth number two. I definitely felt this one myself. I feel like I have to finish this enormous, super thick grammar textbook cover to cover before I can really start learning properly again.
That approach, it treats learning a language like you're solving some kind of theoretical math problem, Not like building a practical, functional skill. Look, formal grammar, knowing the explicit rules, it's useful sometimes for checking things, for understanding why. But it absolutely has to be balanced with what we call functional grammar. You learn to predict language, some sources call it predictive grammar, by seeing and hearing those patterns used thousands, literally thousands of times in real context, not by memorizing, the exceptions listed in chapter 3.
Right. And the third one, oh man, I definitely did this early on. Myth number three. Thinking that if I just force myself to read really difficult academic high-level stuff way above my level, like I+2, my skills will somehow magically jump up to that level too.
Oh, that is just a recipe for, complete cognitive overload and burnout. Seriously. The science from input theory, it's absolutely rock solid on this. The only thing that reliably and sustainably increases your fluency is consuming massive amounts of comprehensible input. That means material that's just slightly easier than, or maybe right at your current level. What the experts call I or I1.
I1, okay.
Trying to tackle really challenging stuff, the I+2, it just creates stress, it blocks understanding, and honestly, it kills the motivation you need to build the habits for automation. It's counterproductive.
Wow. Okay, that should be a massive relief for anyone listening who felt like they just weren't cut out for it or that they failed somehow. The research really shows, doesn't it? If you struggled, it was much more likely your methodology that was off, not you, not your effort, not your talent.
Exactly. The process is reproducible. You just need the right map. Okay, so now we're getting to the real core of it, the science bit. The goal, as we said, is automation. And to really grasp this, we need to understand the difference between two kinds of knowledge. See, most learners who are motivated, who've studied hard, They have tons of what's called declarative knowledge.
Declarative, meaning?
And they can tell you the rules, they can recite verb conjugations, define vocabulary words perfectly if you ask them. They know about the language.
Ah, okay. But the sticking point, the thing that's missing is the procedural knowledge.
hmm
How can we make that difference really clear for everyone listening?
Okay, think about driving a car. Your declarative knowledge is like knowing the entire driver's manual inside out. You know what the gas pedal does, you know the traffic laws, maybe even the physics of how tires grip the road.
Right. I know the rules.
Exactly. But procedural knowledge, that's the muscle memory. It's actually shifting gears, signaling, turning the wheel smoothly without consciously thinking about the instruction manual. A lot of intermediate learners, they have a perfect instruction manual for English in their heads, but almost no driving muscle memory.
Ah, I see. And that's why you slow down when you speak. You're mentally flipping through the page of the manual mid-sentence.
Precisely. You're manually checking the rules, translating, processing consciously.
We need to get rid of that manual check. Eliminate the translation step. So this system we're trying to build, this muscle memory system, what do the experts call it?
It's essentially your own developing internal language system. It's often called your interlanguage in the SLA field. And specifically for Japanese learners, some of the material nicknames, it Jibun Aigo, which translates roughly to your own English.
Jibun Aigo. I like that.
Our mission really is to efficiently upgrade your Jibun Aigo, your interlanguage, until it becomes a practical, automatic skill you can use without thinking.
Okay, so if the quickest way to build muscle memory is lots and lots of the right kind of repetition, what are the main activities, the main drivers we need to focus on? What are these automation shortcuts?
Right. They are the absolute pillars of input, extensive reading and extensive listening.
Okay, extensive reading, Todoku in Japanese.
Right.
And
Exactly. Tedoku. This automates what we call forward processing. It forces your brain to understand English in English word order. It breaks that mental habit of reading a bit, translating it back to your native language, then processing it. You learn to process directly.
it saves time and mental energy. Okay. And extensive listening, tachu. Why is that so critical? English sounds aren't always intuitive for learners.
You nailed it, touch you. It's absolutely critical because English has its own unique rhythm, stress patterns, intonation, sounds that just don't exist in many other languages, including Japanese. Listening, extensive listening, trains your brain's internal rehearsal system. It automates the feel, the rhythm, the pronunciation, all those subtle sound changes, liaisons, reductions that make up the soundscape of the language.
And that's vital for actually understanding people and sounding more natural yourself.
Absolutely vital for fluency and for confidence when you eventually speak. These two, reading and listening, massive amounts of them, are the fuel. They're the necessary fuel for the automation engine.
Okay, so if extensive reading and listening are the fuel, let's talk about the quality of that fuel.
Yes.
Because picking the right stuff seems absolutely key. So for this first big stage, the idea is just flood the system with input, right? And importantly, don't worry too much about how well you speak or write yet. We're just building the foundation.
Precisely. We're building the base for automation. And here we absolutely have to come back to that crucial rule, the comprehensible input principle, the I-1 rule. Remember, if I is your current level, you must choose material that's either slightly easier than I, that's I1, or maybe exactly at I, nothing harder.
I remember trying to read those challenge books, way above my level, I+2 stuff. I thought the struggle meant I was learning faster or something. Why is the easy stuff, the I1 material, actually the faster way?
Well, think about how that felt. That frustration you mentioned, that's the answer right there. Difficult material, it just causes stress, it overloads your working memory, your cognitive capacity, and frankly, it makes the whole experience unpleasant, even painful.
Yep.
And pain kills habit. Your brain simply cannot automate complex patterns when it's stressed out. It goes into survival mode, not learning mode.
Yeah.
Only easy, relatively stress-free input, repeated massively, consistently, allows the brain to relax and start recognizing patterns automatically. That smooth, effortless processing is what builds automation.
So the goal is high volume, low stress. Makes sense.
High volume, low stress engagement. That's the ticket.
Perfect. Okay, let's get practical then. What's the strategy for this input phase? You mentioned multimodal input, materials with audio.
Yes, highly recommended. Find materials like graded readers, simple news articles, maybe even kids shows initially that come with accompanying audio. This way, you're hitting both pillars, reading and listening at the same time. You see the words, you hear the sounds, the rhythm. It's super efficient.
Okay, so for the extensive reading part, Todoku, what's the focus?
Focus on quantity and overall understanding, not perfection. Don't aim to understand every single word on the first pass. That's not the goal. Instead, train yourself to guess, to infer meaning from the surrounding words, from the context. Keep moving forward. Reinforce that direct English and English processing we talked about.
So resist the urge to stop and look up every unfamiliar word.
Exactly. If you pause every few seconds to grab a dictionary, you completely break the flow. You kill the automation process you're trying to build. Just keep reading, get the gist, and trust that with volume, the important words will reappear and stick.
Got it. And for extensive listening, the to-do part, we're really targeting those sound circuits.
That's the primary goal here, yes. Mastering the rhythm, the intonation, the connected speech, how sounds change when words run together, that is the absolute key to understanding real-world, fast native speech. Now, for absolute beginners, the sources do suggest a small initial investment before you dive into hours of listening. Spend just a little time familiarizing yourself with the basic, foundational English vowel and consonant sounds. Just get a basic handle on them.
Like a quick phonics primer.
Sort of, yeah. Once you have that basic sound recognition in place, then unleash the massive listening. That little bit of upfront work can save you months of frustration down the line trying to distinguish sounds that initially just blend together. All right, so you've been flooding your brain with comprehensible input, reading, and listening. You're building that foundation. Now, step 2 is about conversion. It's about turning that passive understanding, that declarative knowledge, into an active, usable skill, procedural knowledge. And the first thing we need to do is completely redefine how we think about output speaking and writing. Output is not some final performance or a test you have to pass.
Oh, I really like this framing. It's not a performance. It's more like a diagnostic tool.
Exactly. Think of it as your personal testing lab. It's where you get immediate feedback and insight. When you try to speak or write, you instantly discover where your automatic circuits are still weak. Which grammar point isn't quite automatic yet. Which vocabulary set isn't coming out smoothly.
So the mistakes aren't failures. They're data points telling you exactly what to work on next in your input or focus practice.
Precisely. And we make this whole process faster, much faster, by setting up a high-speed circulation cycle. You get input, reading, listening, you do some automation practice, maybe drills, focus repetition, you try some output, speaking, writing, and then you get feedback insight, which informs your next round of input. The sources often call this a PDCA cycle plan. Do, check, act. Plan your output, do it, check where the gaps were, act by focusing your next input practice session on those gaps.
And the faster you spin through that cycle, input, automate, output, feedback, repeat, the faster the fluency comes.
That's the engine of acceleration right there. High-speed PDCA.
Okay, now here's a part I found really fascinating, especially for speaking. We tend to think of speaking, especially spontaneous conversation, as like 100% improvisation off the top of your head. But the research suggests something quite different, right? For real fluency under pressure, preparation is 90%. What on earth does that mean in practice?
It sounds counterintuitive, I know. But think about it. Spontaneous speaking puts a massive strain on your brain. You're retrieving words, forming sentences, monitoring grammar, listening, thinking about content, all at once.
Yeah, it's a lot.
To manage that cognitive load, especially when you're not yet fully automatic, you need to prepare structures in advance. You need to run mental simulations, basically. For topics you know you're likely to discuss, your job, your hobbies, current events, you should actually build a sort of mental inventory of useful phrases, sentence structures, key points. Prepare the framework beforehand.
So if I need to get better at structured speaking and making my points clearly without rambling, what's the best, lowest pressure way to practice that structure building?
Well, the fastest intermediate step, according to the research, is actually writing.
Writing. To get better at speaking.
Yes. Writing is like the perfect rehearsal space. It's low pressure, you have time, you can consciously structure your thoughts logically, you can check your grammar, you can practice forming more complex sentences correctly. For example, let's say you have an online conversation lesson coming up, and the topic is, I don't know, a recent movie you watched.
Okay.
Before the lesson, you should actually sit down and write out maybe 3 main points you want to make about the movie. Write out the key sentences, the connecting phrases.
Ah, I see. So when I've physically written out that structure, point 1, point 2, point 3, with supporting ideas, that logical sequence gets kind of imprinted.
Exactly. It transfers. When the pressure is on in the actual conversation, your brain is more likely to default to that practiced logical structure you rehearsed through writing. It prevents your syntax from just, well, collapsing under pressure.
You're not desperately searching for structure while trying to find the words. You've already built the scaffolding.
You've built the scaffolding in a low-stress environment. It's incredibly effective. And one final point on output. Remember, when you are practicing speaking or writing, shift your focus back to quality over quantity when it comes to vocabulary. Don't try to show off hundreds of obscure words. Instead, focus intensely on mastering those core, high-frequency words and phrases, the ones that are super usable in your specific situations. Practice them until they are absolutely instantly available, truly automated. Okay, so we've got the method, the shortest route. But sticking to it, that requires a crucial shift in mindset. You absolutely must prioritize habitualization over relying solely on willpower.
Right, because motivation, it's great. It gets you started, but it always fades, doesn't it? It ebbs and flows. If you're just relying on pure grit, pure willpower day after day, you can burn out. It's inevitable.
Totally inevitable. The solution is to design your learning process using tools like that PDCA cycle, scheduling specific times, having the right materials ready so that learning becomes like brushing your teeth.
Something you just do, an automatic habit. Not a big draining decision you have to force yourself to make every single day.
Precisely. Remove the decision fatigue. Make it automatic. And to fuel that habit, to keep the momentum going, you have to ditch the vague, giant goals. Stop aiming for just fluency. It's too big, too abstract. It's overwhelming.
Instead, you need to break that huge goal down into small, concrete, achievable mini goals. Things you can actually tick off a list.
And these mini goals need to be super specific, right? Not just read more.
Exactly. Hyper-specific. Things like, this month I will finish reading 3 graded readers at my I1 level. Or, in my online conversation class this week, I will successfully use these 5 specific new phrases we learned.
Those small, guaranteed wins, they build confidence. They prove to yourself that you're making progress. They reinforce the habit. They keep the engine running week after week.
Small successes fuel the big journey.
That's it. So let's pull back for the bigger picture. We've talked about the method, the science, the habits, but why? Why go through the effort of this automation training? What's the real payoff?
Well, the benefits are huge, really profound. On a practical level, your career. English opens up massive international opportunities, better jobs, collaboration across borders, accessing information, things you simply can't do otherwise in many fields.
Absolutely. And then there are the cognitive benefits. The science is pretty solid here too. Learning and using a second language actually improves your brain's flexibility. It boosts your problem-solving skills, even enhances creativity. You're literally upgrading your own mental operating system.
That's amazing. And maybe most importantly, it just unlocks the world, doesn't it? You get direct access to global information, news sources, unfiltered culture, movies, music, books in their original form.
And it transforms how you connect with people. Building real international friendships becomes possible. Travel shifts from just looking at things to actually participating, understanding, connecting on a deeper level.
It really is a fundamental life upgrade. And it all starts with choosing the right strategy and sticking to it. #tag outro. Okay, so let's wrap this up. The main takeaway from this deep dive, the core message, is this. Success in achieving English fluency. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's virtually guaranteed if you adopt the right scientific strategy. Your first step, maybe even today, is super simple. Reject those old time-wasting myths we talked about. Take an honest look at your current level, figure out your I, and then just choose one resource, one book, one podcast series, one website that's at your I or I1 level, and crucially, make sure it has accompanying audio.
That's your starting point. Begin that massive, stress-free input journey right away. You have the roadmap now. You know how to build those automatic circuits. And remember, the effort you put into using the scientific method, it pays back way more than just better communication skills.
Absolutely. Learning English this way isn't just about acquiring a skill. It really is about upgrading your thinking, expanding your horizons, opening up your world in ways you might not even imagine yet. Start building that procedural muscle memory now.
Thank you so much for joining us for this special deep dive edition. We really hope you're feeling motivated and equipped to start or restart your journey towards automatic English fluency.
We'll catch you next time for your daily dose of efficient English learning. Bye for now.